Hello, everyone. Welcome to The Dead Truth, where we talk about the reality of grief, widowhood, loss, and rebuilding, without pretending it's easy. I'm really glad you're here. Wherever this episode finds you, I want you to know you are not alone in grief. We're all in different seasons of our journey, just trying to get through each moment. I hope you're getting through today and every day in whatever way you can. And if getting through this is all you're doing right now, that counts. The Dead Truth is a space where we talk honestly about life after the passing of our spouse or partner. The messy parts, the quiet parts, the parts people don't always know how to hold. If you're listening as a widow, this space belongs to you. Also, if you love someone who is a widow or has suffered any kind of loss, this space is for you too. A quick disclaimer, I am not a licensed therapist or counselor. I'm a woman who has experienced profound loss, creating space for honest, sometimes raw conversations around loss, grief, and widowhood. This episode may include sensitive topics related to death, identity, and loss. My experience or message may not be exactly the same as yours, but I hope you relate to it in some way, and my message resonates to help you navigate this horrible experience called grief. Thank you for listening with an open heart and mind. For Mel, whose love still teaches me how to live, the one whose story began this one. Your voice is in every quiet moment, every story told, every breath I take to keep going. Today I'm joined by Megan Palazzo with Granite Canyon Wealth Management, and we're going to have a conversation about financial safety for widows, what to do and what to avoid. As always, take what resonates, leave what doesn't, and let's talk truth. Hey, Megan.
Hey, Jen.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. I'm so honored. Seriously. I just can't even believe you thought of me. I'm so honored that you did. And I'm just so blown away by what you've put together here. It's incredible.
Well, thank you so much. Like I told you earlier, the minute that I was putting a list together of guests that I thought could bring value and knowledge to the podcast, you were at the top of the list. I didn't have to think twice about it.
Blows me away, but I'm so honored. That's all I can say. I'm just honored.
Well, thank
Literally.
you. Thank you. And ditto. Yes. So I'll read your bio really quick, tell a little bit about you, and then we'll jump right into it.
Sounds great.
Okay. So over a decade ago, Megan founded Granite Canyon Wealth Management with a clear vision to redefine how wealth management could empower people to build stability and lasting legacies. Growing up, Megan watched her mom dedicate her life to teaching, often putting others' needs before her own. She saw firsthand how challenging it could be for educators to build financial security while navigating the demands of their profession. Inspired by her mom's dedication and the financial hurdles she witnessed, Megan made it her mission to help teachers take control of their finances. Her tailored strategies have enabled countless educators to grow their wealth, plan for retirement, and enjoy the peace of mind they deserve. I love that.
Thank you. Yeah. And another actually really great friend of mine, she's in marketing and she helped me write that. And she kind of styled it. And I was reading it and I was like, I could have never even it's great to have an outside perspective who's observed you. So anyway, I have to give a shout out to Carlin who did that for me and did an incredible job.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And you can look at it and go, wow.
Yeah.
I have done that.
Totally.
We have to sometimes give ourselves a pat on the back too.
I think
come a long way. Yeah.
You're in the minutia of it every day. And then you're like, oh no, I really have done that. That is what I've done.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I've watched you throughout the years do that. So yeah. It's
a huge passion. I'm not the advisor. I do have high net worth clients. I don't want to say that I don't, and some of them are my biggest cheerleaders. They know I'm here today and they're so excited, but
nice.
For sure, I will never be a firm that only works with people who have X dollars. It is we want to help everybody.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is so you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. As a person, You're
Yeah.
so compassionate and have empathy for others, and you do
Yeah.
always want to help. And I see that in your everyday life and, outside of
Thanks.
work too. I see that you do that. So,
Yeah, I mean, I really do have a perspective that life is so much more than just right now. And helping others is really what matters and will matter in the long run, right? Like, and by the long run, I mean, I don't have the perspective that we're just here on this earth. I don't necessarily have an idea of what's going to be next, but I do believe there is something next. And I think that what we do here really matters
for sure.
here and there.
Yeah. So your career matches exactly how you feel,
Yeah.
because you do help people not only plan for now and work with what's happening now, but what will happen with them in the future.
Yeah,
So
totally. And
that's,
it matters to me for
yes.
sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, should we jump into the first question?
Yeah.
And we will have Megan's info in the description. So you will be able to see that. But let's jump into the first question. So most people don't think about finances until loss forces it.
Yeah.
What's the first truth you want widows to know when they're suddenly in charge of everything?
Well, I think first of all, I find especially female widows who've been in a heterosexual relationship, because I will say that matters sometimes. The dynamics can be different. There's kind of this perspective that there's all this knowledge that other person had, and they don't really realize that that other person was talking to other people that helped them. And so whether it's when they went to get a mortgage, that person maybe had a little bit more awareness or a better ability to vet out who to use, or was willing to do it, right? But the other spouse generally just thinks that it was kind of magic sometimes. And it's maybe something that they really loved about that person. They loved that that person took that off their plate. But just an awareness that there are other professionals that other person was using or relying on that help them make those good decisions. And so feeling like if they don't innately know what to do, that's because there's people out there to help them.
Right.
And they should not have shame around not knowing those answers. And be aware that that other person probably was using somebody else to help them, or getting information somewhere else. They didn't just innately have it inside them. There's resources, there's people, there's things that can help.
As it should be, right? But maybe the couple just wasn't transparent about that. So
Yeah.
the one side of the couple knew what was happening. They were reaching out for resources, and the other one just was trusting, which they should, right?
Right.
But just not as knowledgeable about how things were working, maybe with household finances, for example.
Totally. I mean, like some phrases that might kind of trigger something is like, maybe your significant other was just like, oh, I talked to so-and-so, he's getting this together for our mortgage, or I talked to so-and-so at work and they're helping us get this together. And all it is like, they were aware of what needed to be done, and they found the right people to help them get it done. But it wasn't generally, unless they were an accountant or a financial advisor or something like that, they most likely had somebody that they were turning to help. And hopefully they've introduced you to that person. But a lot of times, especially if you're a couple that's not already retired, you've never made a decision about who to use. And so it's just been random people he's talked to along the way that's put him on the right track, or he feels is the right track. And anyway, just know that because you don't innately know the answer, that is not a flaw. And there are people to turn to help you with that.
Good. I love that. Okay. Awesome. So I know when Mel passed away, I had to quickly jump into managing the finances.
Yeah.
And it was rough. It was no longer the we of, we make this decision together. We'll buy this.
Sure.
We'll manage this a certain way. It was now just I and mine, and looking at the bank account or at different benefits that we had.
Yeah.
It was painful. And just knowing that he was never going to look at all this again, and
Yeah.
that it was just me. So the new role of handling money felt like another goodbye every time I had to sit down and do things. Those first few months, it was a lot of tears and just trying to figure everything out. So, what's the biggest emotional barrier widows face when making financial decisions?
Well, just hearing you kind of jogged something that I was trying to put my finger on when I was preparing. So, first of all, like, grief is just so hard. And I think, there are people, I tend to be one of them, that like doing yoga, finding my zen, finding my peace before I make a decision kind of resonates with people who think that way. But I think in general, just a way to describe it is, when you're in a grief spiral, you cannot make good decisions. And you definitely cannot make long-term decisions. But what I have found with widows is there's always kind of a pack of people that are surrounding that person, generally with really good intentions, but not a lot of maybe like grief experience. And so a lot of times they'll come into my office with the widow and they will start telling me what needs to be done. And they are fully unaware of what you just perfectly described, that even just talking about what I'm going to call housekeeping decisions are painful. And maybe we just need to be quiet for a minute and like let the widow tell us how she's feeling. And yes, we've got to make sure the house payment's going to get paid. Yes, we've got to make sure health insurance stays intact. Yes, we've got to deal with all of these things. But maybe we don't need to overwhelm her with talking about all of it right away. Like, and recognize that it is putting that person, finalizing their life. And that is really, really hard. And then grief, something that I have just been trained on throughout like almost every large institution I've worked at, or just education I've picked up along the way, is that someone who's had a profound loss like that just should not make a good long-term decision for at least a year. And I have seen that over and over again in my career, particularly older widows who've been retired with their spouse for 10, 15 years. Now they're adult kids who are sometimes our age now, with the best of intentions, just start basically making financial moves. And what they don't see coming down the pike is mom's anger down the road when things happened that she said okay to, but really didn't actually long term like having had happened. So selling the family home and moving in with the kids, right at that moment, it's great because now she's surrounded by family and everybody is just like, she's never going to be lonely and she's never going to hit kind of that phase when nobody's around. But then as she exits that, now she's like completely separated from her community, her friends, the things she went and did. And now she's rebuilding again outside of where she was going to be. So that's just an example. But like in that grief moment, that was not the time to make that long-term decision.
Right.
Like maybe we could have, instead of selling the home, rented it and had her move in for a while. And then when she was ready to go back, she could. There's so many ways to handle that, but I am really passionate. Like, has it been a year? Like, we're not even going to discuss long-term financial moves until it's been at least a year, with the caveat of someone who's been a caregiver. So a lot of times a widow who's had a spouse that's had cancer, had Alzheimer's, had something, they've kind of had a little bit more time to process this eventual loss.
A longer goodbye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of times when I'm like, hey, like, we need to take a year, I will always start with that, but they will kind of be like, hey, I've had 5 years to think this through.
True. So
And
that's a little bit different.
yeah, yeah. And then, but I will still push back. And I don't think I've had anybody make a serious decision quicker than 3 months, and really generally even 6, because there's still all of those things to handle, right? Like taking them off checking accounts, rearranging the title on the house, like all of those things that are just like a final nail in the coffin, so to speak, that this person is no longer here. And it is still emotionally taxing, and they're still not in the very best headspace to really make that decision.
Yes. I always say grief brain is real.
Oh, 100%.
And
100%.
I wonder as well if widows aren't getting the right support, they don't have a circle of family or friends that are supporting them. It does make it harder to make decisions where if you have good support and you feel like you're being heard, you feel like that they're understanding where you're coming from with certain issues or decisions. I think that may open up your mind, a widow's mind, a little bit more, where she's able to make better decisions and see things clearly. And then just knowledge. And like you said, you don't let them make decisions right away. And I think if you have all the information that you need, what you don't know, right? But that's what you're there for, is to educate them. And what I loved about you when I first spoke to you about my own personal finances, you not only talk about, like you said, what's happening at the moment, but if you do certain things, what it looks like down the road. And planning and being prepared, I know that has helped me through grief, where I didn't feel like I was making decisions right off the cuff. But just really like pre-planning, just making sure that I understood things. So
I will talk about it, I think, a little bit longer down the road here, but I think that that's just so valuable. Thinking through things before you're in crisis, even if you end up not doing what you planned, it does give you kind of some sure footing to head back to rely on, or just to kind of know things are going to be stable for a minute and you have a minute to catch your breath. And so I don't want to, I don't want to impede on your follow-up questions, but I think that's really huge.
You're fine. I want you to give us as much knowledge as you have. Thank you. This space is for you today.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's talk about the reality of widowhood and money. So as a couple, before a spouse dies, household finances can be handled in many ways, right? So sometimes there's couples that are both knee deep in the household finances. They both know what's going on. They have a shared checking account. They know what's in their 401ks. They know what their paychecks look like, what's coming in. And then you have some couples that do everything separate. And these are not, this is good, this is bad. It's
absolutely
just how couples find that it works for them. So some couples are not very transparent. They have their own accounts. Their checks go into their checking accounts. They've made agreements on how the bills are being paid. And there's just no transparency. That's one word that really stood out to me as I was researching and going through all of this info. And so, number one, why do so many households divide financial roles without transparency? And what conversations do couples avoid? What have you found in your experience?
So this is actually something we are really vested in understanding and researching, and we've tried to find great tools to help us work through this. But I think that something I have definitely learned, and therefore I feel like everybody probably doesn't know if that's probably not true, but we all come from very different financial backgrounds. And what our parents did with money, the way we felt growing up. So, an experience I had kind of in my 20s or so, I was kind of helping these kids. I was kind of running some like youth group kind of things. And they were really living, oh yeah, I gave them a survey and what was the most challenging thing in their life. And these kids were intimately aware that every single month paying their rent was a struggle.
Oh, wow.
And one of my really good friends who worked at the road home for a really long time, she was like, that is how generational poverty begins. Because these kids have no resource to fix that problem and it becomes helpless. And so that person entering into a committed relationship now has this a never-ending feeling of hopelessness.
Mm-hmm.
And then if they are getting into a relationship with somebody whose parents had all the money in the world and blah, 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 they are going to just have contention unless they can figure out how to come up with systems that assure this person who's going to probably their entire life always be worried that they're going to one day be like a bag lady. And they will want to have tons of savings and they are fully aware that security can go away.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, the other person's never experienced that. So those are like extremes.
Yeah. Which sounds like that could be rough.
It could be
if
really
one
rough.
has a certain belief and the other one has
Yes.
a whole different experience with money.
Whole different experience, right? Then there's like cultural things. I did a training for the Fraternal Order of Police last year. And, you know, they're dealing a lot with people in poverty, people that are living in project housing. And we just had a huge discussion around like sometimes it can be frustrating when you're trying to serve that community and you know kids are going without. And then all of a sudden the whole family has something that middle class people or people in the high net worth area would think is frivolous.
Mm-hmm.
So just maybe a new TV or sneakers or something, right? But there's no perspective that that family has never seen wealth creation. So where the rest of us are thinking, I need to save because savings means to getting to a better place, they've never seen that. And a lot of times for generations. And so that thing that we view as frivolous is really, really important to them.
Yes, it's huge.
It's huge. And so trying to meld that person into our perspective, or what would be my perspective, is just totally flawed. One, it won't work. But if you do offer opportunities where they can start to see wealth creation, maybe you'll see some change, right?
Mm-hmm.
But so those are extreme examples. But inside a couple, there's going to be someone who's kind of more of a spender and someone who's more of a saver. There's going to be someone who might be more of a risk taker. So a lot of times with teachers, we'll see them married to entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
So the teacher will carry the benefits and they'll be married to a home builder or, you know, a contractor of some sort or whatever. And a lot of times I do see their finances separate because the teacher, they are going to be someone that money doesn't matter so much to. It's really about the connecting and the nurturing and the payback that they're getting from doing that job.
Mm-hmm.
But yet, if they look in their theoretical joint bank account and it's negative, like that is just going to spiral them.
Right.
Meanwhile, this entrepreneur is just like, hey, it's the price we got to pay before we like get to our next big thing, right?
Yeah, they have a whole different outlook.
A whole different outlook. And so finding ways to communicate and just, you know, sometimes that can just be like, hey, look, like this teacher has to have X amount of dollars always in savings. And as long as you do that, you're never going to have an issue with that person thinking you're spending too much or taking too much risk or whatever, right? And on the flip side, when they're looking at how their portfolios, for example, should be performing, they're going to be really different in how they approach that too.
Mm-hmm.
One's going to have totally different expectations over the other. And so we definitely, you know, you need a good financial advisor that's going to help you communicate there too. So that the more aggressive person isn't constantly annoyed with the return in the other person's account and
Mm-hmm.
the other person isn't freaking out when there's a down market and the other person who had a ton of money now all of a sudden doesn't.
Right.
But yeah, I think that is just a chronic issue. I think anybody who's been in a committed relationship will tell you that exists. And if they don't, they're probably lying. or or they completely bifurcate everything
Mm-hmm.
and they run separate lives. So, but I feel like couples can be the most successful when they can learn to communicate. But I think just being respectful of the fact that you're coming from very different perspectives and having a goal to come together and work together, but finding some systems that allow that communication to not be so painful.
Yes, for
And
sure.
yeah,
So this really related to couples possibly that have not lost a spouse, that one of the spouse has not passed away yet.
yeah,
So for any listeners out there that can plan now before their
yeah,
spouse passes away,
yeah,
that, be more transparent within your relationship with the
mm-hmm,
finances, then that's
yeah,
super helpful.
yep,
Once your spouse passes, then sometimes this comes up to the surface, I would think, where
yep,
the widow, for example, might say, well, my husband was very knowledgeable about money.
yep,
Like he did this and this. I functioned more like this. And
yep.
so that might be a good or bad thing now that they're doing everything on their own. So,
Yeah, I mean, I think it becomes almost like a treasure hunt to try and figure out what was going on and unraveling stuff. And sometimes that frustration that you felt like was dealt with bubbles up
yes.
because all of a sudden you're finding out he was still the spender or he was the saver and you went without, and now you're frustrated because now you find out there's all this money there, and you didn't send a kid to summer camp that you would have had you known, something like that.
Yeah.
So I think number one, once they're gone, I think sometimes people feel like it's just so overwhelming because it's almost like a forensic accounting job.
Yes.
Like you've got to start going through the documents and making phone calls. And that's also kind of when I was thinking through, if you're a widow trying to hire a new financial advisor, a crummy financial advisor is probably not going to be willing to help you with that. It's too much
Yes.
work that's pretty much unpaid, but a good financial advisor is going to be excited to help you dig in, and they're going to give you a list of documents to go look for. And one of the things I was like, what would I give them? I don't know that I would have a set list, but the conversations should start with like, what did your husband do? What do you do? Just a fact finding mission that a good financial advisor is going to be really honed in on how to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, they're going to come up with a list of stuff to uncover. And 9 times out of 10, when I get to that place and I start asking for stuff, she has it and didn't know the value of it. And then she'll often be like, oh, I brought that with me. I didn't know what it meant. And then that
Nice.
advisor can go through it and be like, okay, here's what's here. Let's start here. And then we'll just start unwinding. And another thing, I mean, my practice started with doing benefits. And then just because of the care that we took of our participants in our 401ks, they became personal clients of the firm.
Mm-hmm.
But I have had the vast majority of my experience with widows has been the HR people that basically hired me calling and saying, hey, like one of our employees suffered a huge loss. Is there any way someone from your office could come talk with them? And or the direct supervisor of that person that realizes they're spiraling. They're maybe off their FMLA, they're back to work, but they're really not functioning. And then that boss is called and just, can you please just come meet with them? And
I love that. Those
yeah,
are great phone calls.
yeah,
People that have your back and want to help.
want to help. And I think that's something that I would really want widows to know is people want to help. I've had bosses be like, I maybe stepping over a line here. Please don't let them know that I called you. Can you just swing by and say hi? So maybe realizing that there are people around wanting to help, and that maybe these people that you see every day are standing by willing and ready if you'll just reach out.
Yes. They just don't always know how.
They just don't
Or
always know how.
society teaches us to mind our business or
Yeah.
we assume they already have people that are helping them, but
Yeah.
a lot of people don't
Yeah.
have a lot of family, or they may not have children or,
Yeah.
adult children that can help them. You just don't know. So sometimes I think it's worth stepping over the line a little bit,
Yeah.
at least
Totally.
asking questions, and then see where it goes from there. If that person is willing to let you help, then
Yeah.
make that phone call.
Absolutely. I think it has always paid off for the employer too, because usually that person was like a fantastic member of the team.
Mm-hmm.
And then this loss has put them in a spiral. And now, you know, I think you called it like grief brain.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it can change your personality for a while.
Oh, yeah.
It can take away your drive. Depression can be mixed up in there too. And so now all of a sudden they're not showing up. And instead of letting that team member like sink and maybe even get let go, it's using some resources within their benefits to help them, get to a good place. I did have one story. I don't know if you mind if I share.
No, of course. Sure.
So, this lady, and I think this is actually one of the most financially devastating situations. So, she was actually a nurse, had really put her career on hold to help her physician husband build his career. And he had basically like franchises of offices for like general doctor practitioner things. So she was not in the know at all on how the business was running. She didn't know anything about cash flow, employees, nothing, right? And he did not believe in life insurance.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So at like 55, he had a heart attack at work and died. They're living in a beautiful home in one of the nicest areas of Colorado. She loses everything. Everything. Why he didn't have a good advisor, I don't know. Or if he did, why that person didn't reach out, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But when I met her, she was working with kids as a nurse full time, feeling like her life was over. So her kind of manager reached out to me and asked me to go meet with her, and pretty much told me if she couldn't change her attitude, she didn't know if she could keep her. And so I was like, well, I'll go talk to her. So I go and I meet with her, and when your significant other or anybody that you're kind of your kids or something like that passes away, Social Security sends you $250 to cover their funeral expenses. Somebody in her network at the time told her that was all he was getting from Social Security. So someone had told her because he was self-employed, he never paid into Social Security. And I was just like, there's a couple taxes you can maybe mess around with, but Social Security is not one of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, that doesn't make sense to me. So very first off, we called Social Security together, found out that his Social Security check, hashtag this was 20 plus years ago. So nurses make a lot more money now.
Yeah.
But his Social Security was actually higher than what she was making right then.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And she was eligible to start drawing it before she intended to retire because she was his survivor.
Mm-hmm.
So next thing I know, they were older. Like he was born in the 40s, she was born in the early 50s. A typical dynamic would have been to just like cash out any of her benefits. He had never cashed out any of her benefits. She just didn't know where they were.
Okay.
So she had a pension system that he left intact. So by the end of that 45-minute meeting, we knew that she was going to be making more money retired than she was making as a nurse.
Oh, wow.
That she really could take advantage of being able to draw his Social Security and build back up some savings. She felt it was so painful losing her home that she never wanted to buy another home again. I was able to help her see that home ownership was going to be affordable and
It was possible.
it was possible and it would be secure. because her perspective is totally different than his. Like, we are not going to take a risk. Like, she wants to know that she's got a house payment today and that she's going to afford it later, or she's not buying a house, right? So long story short, her total perspective on where life was going to go changed. Her anger towards him changed because she was so mad. Like, they had this wonderful life, but then he didn't have life insurance in place, and she thought he hadn't paid taxes correctly, and now here she is later in life left to figure all of this stuff out with no resources to do it. So anyway, it all changed on a dime. 45 minutes later, she's not angry with him. She feels like she's going to survive life, and we had a plan to put everything together to like keep her retired, or keep her working and then comfortably retired.
Wow.
But
she walked out of there very happy. Relief, I would say.
Relieved.
Not necessarily happy, but just relieved that the future looked a little more brighter than she thought when she walked in.
100%. 100%. I mean, she really thought she was going to be working till she died, struggling the entire time. And next thing she knows, you know, I think it was like 2 or 3 years later, she qualified to draw his Social Security. She diligently put all of that away for retirement. That just, you know, all of a sudden she went from living paycheck to paycheck to having the ability to put money away, knowing that she's going to have his Social Security, her pension. And she could actually see that even though they did not communicate very well clearly, that he had actually really thought about her as he was putting things together and considered her stuff that she had worked really hard to do. And instead of just cashing it out and going and spending on its business or whatever, he actually left it intact for her. And it just took a few phone calls to kind of figure out where things were, and going through her work history, calling around, finding those things out and putting it together. But yeah, I mean, I think unfortunately she went like, I don't know, maybe 5 years carrying that frustration and anger. Where if she had just had a good financial advisor sit down with her who was not concerned about how much money she had to put on deposit right then, but was willing to help her make those phone calls and do that research, her life could have been so much better faster.
Yeah.
And
I have read a stat where it does take widows 5 to 6 years before they reach out for help.
that doesn't surprise me.
Probably a number of reasons.
Yeah.
Just maybe they weren't emotionally ready, or they felt like it would look bad if they didn't.
Sure.
Or if they reached out, that would look bad. A lot of people just are afraid to ask for help.
And
but
I think in her situation too, she felt like she had no money. So why would she reach out? Like, what is she going to ask? Who's going to see her, you know? And,
but you painted a financial picture for her. After being financial advisor, somewhat detective, right? You have to start pulling things out of the cracks. But I bet more people are more surprised than not once you've painted that picture.
Yeah.
You probably get a lot of, wow, I didn't know I had that, or I didn't know that this is what that did.
Yeah, for sure.
So
it's I've tried to have it on my website. I mean, no matter who, a widow, couple that's been working forever and doesn't know what to do with their 401k, you know, whatever. It's just like this feeling where they walk in and there's a lot, and we're kind of doing it right now, I guess, of just blanket information out there. And so people will get it, they'll hear something and then be like, okay, well, that's where I have to be to get what I want. And 9 times out of 10, that's just not accurate. Like, everybody's individual situation is different.
Yes.
And figuring out what you have and how to manipulate that to work for you is really a talent that you need to find in an advisor.
So just like everybody's grief, they grieve differently.
Yes.
Grieving is somewhat the same, but for each person, it's going to be differently. Same as a financial picture. A lot of things may be similar with the same as a family member. But just because it's working for the family member doesn't mean it's going to work for your finances.
100%.
Or there might be a better option for yours versus what they're doing. So, everybody comes from, like you said, different background,
Mm-hmm.
different ways they've been doing things, different benefits they have in place. So
Mm-hmm.
you paint that picture for them, show them their options.
Yeah, take what they have, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I work a lot with teachers, firefighters, police. They've got these incredible pensions, and they typically don't have a lot of money in 401ks or things like that, right? But yet almost everything you hear in the media is talking about someone who is going to rely on their 401k. And so if you're a widow of someone who's in that system and you get their 401k and that's your only perspective is that this 401k is supposed to take care of you, it can be really terrifying. Because instead of seeing hundreds of thousands of dollars there, you're going to see maybe 100,
Mm-hmm.
maybe a couple hundred, but sometimes even 20 or 30,000. And then you don't realize that this pension is very, very valuable, and it's going to pay every month a paycheck. But how that will work and how to put that together.
Yes, how everything
Mm-hmm.
works.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about that a little bit later, but just
Yeah.
a lot of the things that we don't realize. Yes, we have a 401k, but how do you take from it? Are there taxes involved? Any penalties if you do take certain steps too early? So,
yeah.
And all of those things we just aren't always knowledgeable about. So,
Totally. That can be really disorienting too, for sure.
yes, yes.
It's like a whole other language. Like, legitimately, just to touch on that, like, I have an accounting degree from Westminster. Westminster College here in Salt Lake has a huge relationship with Fidelity. So I joke that it's like a train from Westminster to Fidelity.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And, I mean, I that's where I started.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, after a 4-year degree in accounting, I felt like I was learning all new stuff. So back to that first comment on a widow, just feeling like just because she doesn't know it, it's not something she should take personally or have shame around, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I had a 4-year accounting degree and I learned all new stuff, like working at Fidelity. I mean, stuff that I was never taught in my accounting degree.
Well, and things change.
Things change all the time.
Every year, right?
Every
There's
year.
new laws, there's new
Yeah.
penalties on things. You used to be able to do this, but now you can't.
Yep. And particularly around, inheriting accounts like that. Sometimes it's 5 years, sometimes it's 10 years, sometimes as a spouse, you can keep it like it's your own.
Mm-hmm.
Those are all things that are just like, yeah.
So really quick, survivor benefits, isn't it age 60 that you're able to start
With Social
drawing?
Security?
Yes.
I would honestly every single time look it up. So I believe it is. However, Social Security is so complicated. A lot of stuff depends on the year you and your spouse were born. So I believe it is 60, but I would still research it before I actually told a client that.
Okay.
And yeah, just triple check stuff. So, people that were born in the 40s have kind of amazing benefits. People born in the 50s have kind of decent benefits. And then the rest of us kind of get the rest. So,
yeah. Did it all go downhill after that?
yeah.
It sounds like.
Well, I mean, like, just a hashtag on my soapbox, but I mean, one way that they are incrementally reducing what they're paying out of Social Security is reducing how and when people can access spousal benefits, survivor benefits, disability benefits. So if you have a disabled child that you have with the spouse who passed away, and that spouse who passed away was the higher income earner, if that child is on disability, that's going to impact how much you can draw and when you can draw it. So Social Security is a little complicated, and it is really individualized.
And very personal. Okay.
Yeah. But I do think that's right, but I would double check it before I actually told an individual that would for sure happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I have my little cards here, so I don't forget to ask you a question. But I feel like that we've touched the reality of widowhood, just not feeling shame, asking for help.
There were a couple things. I don't know if I'm taking you off track here.
No,
but
you're fine.
As I really thought through the widows that I've worked with, I think there are 3 ways like emotions that I see. And I guess I just wanted, and there could be more, but this is just what I've seen. So I just want people to know that it looks and feels different. But the three I've seen is just incredible grief, like just sadness, and can't can't move forward. And um, you know, moving their 401k from them to you is just that, kind of like you described it. Like it just feels like one more thing that's making it official that they're not here.
Mm-hmm.
So I have seen that. I've seen anger, and they're mad at that person. Like, why did they do this or that, or whatever. And I think that that is also grief, and
Mm-hmm.
it's coping. And sometimes the like surrounding like community can kind of be judgmental with that one, especially. And so I just think it's like, hey, like, give yourself a break.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe we can, like that one widow I talked about, we can find some solutions that are going to kind of change that perspective. But sometimes they're just um like if
Really
they,
angry.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just the way grief's happening for them.
Yeah. I mean, it's a stage of grief that
Yeah, okay,
you
yeah.
go through.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was mad at Mel. I remember the first couple months, all I said as I was crying is, "Why did you leave me?"
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just emotions come out of you and thoughts come out of you that you never thought you'd say
Sure.
out loud. So I was mad at him for leaving me, but luckily our finances seemed okay. So
Yeah.
that wasn't an added thing that I could be angry about.
Yeah.
But for someone else, finances might come into play where
For sure.
you're not only mad that they're gone, but now you have to try to figure all this other stuff out that you thought
Yeah.
maybe you had already figured out, or that was put in place and everything would just flow easily after
Yeah.
one of you was gone, and it's just not happening. So I bet that you see that a lot. And it's
Yeah.
okay.
It's okay.
But like you said, you breathe, you help them stop and just
Mm-hmm.
let's look at everything.
Yeah.
And then they realize maybe they're not as angry.
Yeah. I mean, I think anger and fear are really, really close together.
Oh, for sure.
So if you're fearing that your financial life is really going to change, you're going to have to sell your home, you're going to have to do these things, like that can feel just so bewildering. And unfortunately, this lady that I met with, I think some of that could have been prevented for her with a good financial advisor.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so sad she didn't find somebody sooner, but
But she found the right person once she did.
I think so.
So,
I think so.
yes.
She's a dear friend still to this day.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I kind of hearing you say it's hard to reach out. I was thinking through like what are ways, like skills widows could have, or tools, right? And I kind of thought back to like the Mr. Rogers, like find the helpers.
Uh-huh.
Like I think whether it's at work, or my cousin Quentin was working at Amazon for a while, and like he had been a complex manager for Morgan Stanley, which is like upper middle management, like almost C-suite executive at Morgan Stanley.
Mm-hmm.
And there was this woman there who, I can't remember what financial issue she was having. It was like a car accident or something, but she recognized he was somebody who would know what to do. And I think he just was helpful. He was competent. He was kind of unemotional. I think everybody liked him, but he didn't really have like a ton of friends per se.
Uh-huh.
And she just knew to talk to him, and he was totally willing to help her and got her some resources. And I think like just look for, I was trying to define the personality, and I'm not exactly sure, but within my book of business, we're talking like accountants, lawyers, engineers. They might even feel like a little bit prickly,
Mm-hmm.
but those are generally people who vet out financial advisors and other professionals really well, and I think could get a widow to somebody good
Mm-hmm.
with maybe precluding some issues. I will say one thing that happens anywhere there's a predominant religious organization, whether it's here in Utah or the Deep South. So the number one fraud in Utah is called affinity fraud, which is basically like, you and I go to the same gym and we like to do the same things, so you can trust me. So when I've talked with people in Utah who are responsible for regulating our industry, I was sad to hear that a lot of times licensed advisors don't get held accountable for stuff they probably should here, because so many non-licensed people, in fact, the exact example I was given by this attorney that was a prosecutor was that here in our predominant religion, there's someone who usually comes and visits a family from the church once a month. And when typically the husband passes away, that individual says, oh, I can help you. And then, like with all of the insurance monies and things like that, they kind of abscond with it.
Okay.
And unfortunately in Utah, the people that are supposed to be enforcing things with the licensed people are so busy dealing with the other people who aren't licensed. In fact, the exact comment or phrase that kind of came over was like, look, like if someone who's licensed and bonded does something wrong, that widow can go after their bonding and get paid and get made whole. But if someone who's non-licensed does it, the only thing we can do is put them in jail. And so you have to be really, really, like, just because they're your religious leader or they're your neighbor who you go to church with, I think you almost have to be more suspect of that person than you normally would. And that is so hard because there is already that feeling of trust. And that can apply across the board, right? I mean, like, we all have some community that we're a part of. And by nature, we need to trust them. But there was this book by Malcolm Gladwell called Talking with Strangers. So good. Love it. But he talks about this kind of monumental financial fraud that took place in New York. And it was the Bernie Madoff scandal. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Yeah, no.
So
I'm a huge documentary.
Oh, okay.
So.
Perfect.
Yes.
So back to widows feeling shame around not knowing stuff. So many financial regulators were in his office investigating him, auditing him, and he was so charismatic and so charming and so good at basically affinity fraud in a way that they just signed off on massive red flags. And then this person comes in who was more of like an engineer personality, just the facts, just the numbers, and he couldn't answer his questions. And he couldn't charm him out of not investigating more. And that's how he ended up getting caught.
Oh, wow.
So never, never, never feel like it's you personally don't have the skills. Like, really educated people don't have the skills sometimes, you know? And so back to how that applies to widows, like, find that prickly engineer who's just kind of a jerk, but when you ask him for help, he says yes, or her, and ask them to help you. You know, be like, hey, I need to go hire a financial advisor, and I'm not sure. Will you go with me? And that person is probably going to have some really good skills for weeding through that. But you're not necessarily...
They can kind of see through all the BS.
100%.
If there is BS involved.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I think with this, and this kind of segues into our next segment on safety for widows and choosing a financial advisor. But I think that, yes, we want to trust people that we are close to or that we see every day. But there's certain things in life that need a professional, a licensed professional, bonded person to help us with.
100%.
And don't ever say yes to someone because you feel bad, you don't want to hurt their feelings when they're offering help, which is wonderful. But there's just certain things that we need a professional to help with.
Yes.
And in this case, with your finances, it's even much better to separate it from a family member or a a friend.
Yep.
Because there are emotions involved. And yes, they are looking out for you, but they might advise you in a way that maybe won't be as beneficial.
Yep.
Or they might not see the picture. They might only see what's happening now, but not down the road.
Mm-hmm.
So where a professional is obviously trained to do that. So
something I'm pretty passionate about in my practice is I have clients like I would call you who we met professionally and now we're friends.
mm-hmm.
But the premise of our professional relationship started professionally. I feel like it is very hard. Like, my parents are not my clients. And part of that is you need to let your hair down with your financial advisor and be transparent as well, or they can't do a good job.
Yes.
And it is really hard when you've got a close relationship with somebody to feel comfortable enough to say the vulnerable things.
Yes. You've said it perfectly. 100%.
It's your community, right? And shame is that feeling that you're going to be booted out of your community. And so I remember one time my husband and I, we were at like a neighborhood get together, and there was like a gynecologist in our neighborhood, and we were sitting there and we learned that like 3 or 4 of the women in our neighborhood went to him.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah. And I was like, never on my life would I ever do that. And then we get in the car and my husband's like, I kind of feel like it's a little bit of a conflict of interest. And I was like,
right?
I don't know what they're doing, but if it works for them, great, right?
Yeah.
Use that same litmus test for hiring a financial advisor. Like, you just...
Yes. You're not trying to hide things from your friends or family or your
mm-hmm.
adult children.
Yeah.
But it's just better to separate certain things.
Yeah.
And that's one of them. Doesn't mean
mm-hmm.
they can't be involved or
yeah.
that you can't share the info that you're learning. But
yep.
it's just better to get a total third party to help you.
Yeah. And someone that it's like, hey, you come into my office and you're just like, Mel did this, this, and this, and I am so freaking mad at him right now. Yeah. And it's not Mel's kid sitting there who's mad at you now for the fact that you're mad at him. And I mean, like, there's just all these emotions, right?
Yes.
That like play in. But
yes.
Just, you leave it at my office and you go home and you go back to your community and you have a great time.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I think there's some truth to that. I'm not saying that family friends can't be good, but
right.
I just think it's like I know with my family, my dad in particular would not want to tell me everything that's going on. And it's like, yeah, you need to work with somebody else who can hear your whole story and that you're comfortable knowing everything.
Mm-hmm.
So
we're not telling people not to trust their
just
circle. We're just saying best practice is
mm-hmm.
to hire that third party to take care of certain things in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of the
things
that you should. One of the things.
I think within your circle, find the helper. When it's coming to someone who's going to help you with financial decisions, that's going to be someone who's maybe not the most liked. Like, maybe that's that, like, prickly. Yeah. We're
not saying engineers aren't liked. We're just saying they just have a different perspective on things.
Well, I mean, I feel like I'm married to this personality. I joke that Adam likes nobody and I like everybody. And mm-hmm. in between that, we find our circle.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's how it should be.
You're looking for your Adam that is just not bamboozled by people. I mean, like, one thing Adam says a lot, and I think one reason why I have a lot of clients are like him is like, he'll immediately be like, I don't like that person. And I am just like,
you're harsh.
Yeah. I'm like, but I have found over, 14 years, he reads people really well. So I would say people who've had also like a long-term career in law enforcement or the military, one reason they've survived bad situations or, they're good at their job is they're really good at reading through that personality mm-hmm. and determining that person's intentions. And you're really wanting in a financial advisor someone who's going to work on your behalf, not their own. I think one thing widows need to be aware of, and the population at large, is financial advising really came out of stockbrokering.
Okay.
So maybe start with a viewing of Wolf of Wall Street, and then know that somehow that got married and and out came the baby of financial advising was like Wolf of Wall Street married a teacher and now you have an advisor.
Mm-hmm.
And you never know like who you're really talking to. And that is so hard. Like, and I know as an advisor, it's frustrating seeing what I think is like bad work,
Mm-hmm.
but it's generally an advisor who found that this is a really great way to make fast money by doing poor work. And they did not care at all about the long-term picture for that person.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard because a lot of them are very charismatic. Usually they're really pretty smart. And you don't know that you're sitting across from somebody who is going to sell you something. Like, I'm going to sell you something. But what is my intention in putting that together? Is it to hear you and match you with the right product lines that make sense for your goals? I had two thoughts on that, putting this together, if you're okay with me sharing.
This actually just segues right into what we
Okay.
were going to talk about next, just safety, stability with
Yeah.
financial advisors. What are the red flags you should
Okay.
look for when you're hiring an advisor?
Yeah. So, there's an advisor in Australia that I follow whose name right now evades me, but he said something really that was just so true. But his perspective was basically his job as an advisor was to hear the client's need and pair them with the right product to get that to happen. And so I think bottom line, there are all these products. Like you could use a CD at the bank. You could just use a savings account at the bank. You could get a stock portfolio. You could maybe buy an annuity, which, depending on who you talk to, they're going to have a really passionate opinion one way or another around that, right? The bottom line is, what was that designed to do? Innately, what was that designed to do? And was it actually designed to hit your goal? So the best description I can have of that, we were joking, like, your cards are beautiful. They're like decorated. Mine is like printer paper with markings on it, right? One of my very best friends is this incredible award-winning interior designer. And when I bought our house, she was just dying to help me with it, and I was dying to have her help me with it.
Yeah.
I know nothing about art, design. Like, I walked into your studio, I'm like, this is beautiful. And that is the extent of what I know of what you've done here. It is aesthetically pleasing to me, right? So my friend was like, well, like, what's your style? And I was like, I don't know. I'm like, I legitimately liked everything she's ever done that I've ever seen. I had no point of reference that one design was modern, one was traditional. I didn't even know the exact vocabulary I'm using right now when I was having that conversation with her. So she got really frustrated with me and helped me a little bit, but basically was like, you need to go watch these videos. You need to read some of these books. And then we can come back and discuss what we're going to do with your house.
Mm-hmm.
So
Pick a style. Is that essentially what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pick a style. She wanted to know, and from her perspective as a practitioner doing what she does, what was my actual goal? And because I didn't actually have a goal, she wasn't comfortable doing it. And because she is really good at her job, she recognized that she could have done whatever made sense to her in my house, and we could have spent a ton of money doing it, and then I would have hated it.
Yeah. A couple years down the road.
Yeah.
You would have been angry.
I would have been angry, right?
Yes.
And so a good financial advisor is going to put you through that same experience. Like, if you walk in and you are just like, I don't know what to do. So as a widow, back to that year-long like break that we're going to take, trying to get you to define what you're going to want in 5, 10, 15 years, it's just not going to happen in that first year. So we're not going to do that. A good advisor's not going to do that. They're going to help you do what I kind of designed, putting this together, housekeeping stuff. We're going to
tackle that first. Okay.
And we're going to make sure that for the next 6 months to a year, you can, if at all possible, stay in your home, keep your job. If you've got kids at home, keep them stable and doing the things that they've been doing for, the year before, clear through right now, right? Then we'll start looking at like, what do you need to do to get yourself set up to move forward and do something different. But trying to get you to define how to decorate your house financially, it's just not going to work. Like, I don't know if you've ever heard that study on sparrows with their nests.
No.
So they were studying sparrows, and like, if you've ever had a house with an eave in Utah, you've probably had a sparrow nest, right? But I don't know if it was like kids were playing or something, but they somehow like destroyed the nest. It got destroyed. And for like the next year of seasons, the nest was just like, even though they rebuilt it, it was like just a mess. Like, it was not orderly. It wasn't like put together. It wasn't like anything. It just was chaos. And then things stabilized. It started to be predictable again. And the sparrows actually destroyed their own nest and rebuilt it. As they normally would, like just that perfect little dome, and everybody just kind of lived peacefully. But even like their chirping throughout that year was just distressed. And everything they were doing,
They were grieving the loss of their nest.
yeah.
Okay.
They didn't have stability again. So I would say in that first year, my goal is, instead of telling the widow to go reconstruct the nest, let's just find stability for that first 6 months to a year. Then, yes, you're going to have to rebuild your life, and you're going to have to rebuild it with what is today.
And maybe make some bigger decisions.
Yeah. But whatever
I
we
love
can
that
do.
story.
Yeah.
That totally explains what that first year of grief is like, and how you should tackle finances or focus on them.
Well, I think a good advisor will walk you through that. And if someone is pressuring you to move money, I had another friend who got divorced, and I was telling you when we were talking before we started, I feel like I see a lot of the same emotions in divorce, and I think a lot of times it's really similar. It's a similar experience, but
Divorce, you are grieving
yeah.
from a divorce. It's a different type of grief, but it's still a loss of something, a loss of your marriage. So I could see where that could be similar.
Yeah. She got a pretty substantial payout from her ex-spouse, and she had talked to a ton of advisors, and they were just like, you need to do this, and you need to do that, and you need to do that. And I was just like, whoa, like I just kind of, as her friend, like, knew like she wasn't sure if she was going to stay in Utah, and she wasn't sure like where her
What
kids
tomorrow
were.
looked like.
Yeah.
At that point,
Yeah. And I was like, I think you need to do something that you can undo in a year. And like in our world, that's something that's not going to be super risky, and something that you can access in a year without a penalty of sorts. And so, some of these other advisors, their perspective might be like, well, the market's really killing it, and you should, be blah, 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 blah. Well, what if you build a nest that's just like totally disoriented and dysregulated, and you decide in a year it's not going to work for you? Like, and then the market turns or whatever. It's like, hey, maybe we're going to forego some potential gains here to just have stability and tranquility for a minute, and then build something that really makes sense at the end. So, if you're, yeah.
So what I'm hearing from you, sometimes financial advisors don't look at the long-term picture. That they might be advising you on things that are maybe popular at the moment, or that they're seeing is working, but it's not for everyone. And maybe some financial advisors don't practice that. They just want to throw you into whatever's working, but not your own personal situation and what it could look like down the road. Is that?
Yeah, I would say I don't know exactly why they're doing that, but what I would say is, like, a good advisor is going to have, we've all had some training on how to deal with somebody who's dealing with loss. I've never had any of those be like, immediately get them into something. It's just like, they need a year. Make recommendations based off of a year plan. And there's guidelines that we operate from, inside that, and they should be doing that. But I think, again, it's like, one of the things that I was going to say is I personally prefer what are called independent advisors. That's what I am. I'm not tied to one of the big banks. I don't want to say one of their names because next thing you know, they'll sue us. But
Yeah, don't do that.
the bigger banks have, from a management perspective, overhead they have to make. And then they have product lines that inevitably they need sold in order to make that happen. And if you're with an independent advisor who's going to have a name like mine, like Granite Canyon Wealth Management, something like that, and they will tell you, usually we wear it like a badge, we are independent. That means we can use any product line that we think is in your best advantage, and we aren't beholden to a quota and they've done a lot in the industry to get rid of that. But no matter what, when you're working there, you're going to feel like there is a demand to sell something. And they'll tell you that's not the case, but I'm here to tell you, I just went through a process in switching up the firm that I was with. I'm still with an overarching broker dealer that oversees my work. I still went with an independent broker dealer again, because in one way or another, they manipulated my comp based off of what I was using or selling if I went with one of the bigger houses. And it was really enticing. They were going to pay a huge signing bonus and things like that to get me to go there. But it's just crucial to me that I have that freedom to do what is right for the client and what they need. And that I'm not being manipulated one way or another to do something different. So an independent financial advisor is technically what I would recommend, but there are great advisors at the bigger wirehouses and things like that too. So I'm not saying that what could be something to look into, but I think independence has some really attractive things for an investor. And then someone who is just like, if you're in there the first day and they're wanting you to sign papers to do something, that to me would be a red flag. Like if my friend had walked in and showed up with a U-Haul full of stuff to throw in my house after not ever talking to me, that would have felt really jarring, right?
Yes.
But
it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, maybe we'll get like a 1% like knock it out of the park situation, but highly doubt it.
Yes.
So
anytime a widow feels pressure in any situation, financial or anything that comes up.
Yep.
If somebody's pressuring you, they're probably not really trying to be helpful.
That would be my gut feeling on that. Yep.
And that's a red flag.
They need to spend at least one solid appointment just listening to you.
Do you suggest that a widow interviews more than one financial advisor? And
unless it's me. No, I'm kidding.
Unless it's you.
Unless it's you. Yeah. No, but for sure.
Is it okay to not, that first visit, to walk away saying, let me think on this?
Yeah. I think it's totally reasonable to be like, hey, like this just happened and I'm interviewing. Now, the other thing though, I think one way to get a good advisor is through a referral. And if you have found that prickly personality in your sphere of influence and they've taken you in somewhere, it's probably going to be the right fit. And if you feel that, I think it's fine to go with it. I think follow your gut, but also recognize, because you're in this grief spiral, your gut might not be as intuitive as it had been prior.
Right.
So just, yeah. And I mean, I think that person, if they are doing a good job, they're going to instinctively be like, housekeeping stuff that has to be done now. And let's talk about stuff that you should be doing long-term later. I have had widows be like, I want to know now. Right. And sometimes that's coming from like the third thing I was going to call was like shell shocked, where like, they're like, no, I'm fine. I'm totally fine. I'm ready for this. And anyway, like with situations like that, I've been like, okay, housekeeping stuff first, getting the 401k moved from his name to your name, getting the bills paid, handling, claiming the life insurance, all of that stuff that for sure has to be done. But then basically like, okay, so I'm listening to you and this is what I'm hearing and this is what you're kind of wanting to do long term. Is that kind of right? Yeah. Okay. Is it okay if like maybe we hashtag that and let's do some other stuff today that can be undone in a year? And then in a year, if you're feeling like that's not really what you wanted, we could easily undo that.
Yes.
And then move forward. But I think that that's kind of what you're trying to vet out and find is someone that's just, to your point, not going to pressure you.
Because some widows may be very knowledgeable.
Totally.
Not every widow's walking into someplace not knowing a thing, right?
Yep.
But there's still, it's probably best practice to create a plan and go through a process of taking baby steps or steps that first year.
Yeah.
So that's great if that person is knowledgeable.
Yeah.
It'll be easier to go through that plan then because they're going to understand it a little bit easier than maybe someone that doesn't.
I think that shell shock personality is usually that person. Like they're probably me, to be honest. They're just like lists of things to do, checklist. They've already got their spreadsheet made, like they're ready to go. I think what their advisor should tactfully, and I can tell you I would probably fight that person too, because I'd be like, no, I already know what to do. I've already thought about this. Like, it's just like, hey, like just give yourself a second to catch your breath and find yourself on solid ground again. And then like really commit to that plan, because something else might come down the pike that changes what you're thinking right now. And just
because from experience from watching people
100%.
First year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're advising them the right way.
Yeah. Don't undo something you can't undo. And there are huge financial decisions, selling the house, planning for retirement, making huge changes in retirement planning. I can't tell you how many times someone has been like, that was the love of my life. I'm never getting remarried again. That's all I wanted. Blah, blah, blah.
That's me.
Maybe not a year later, but within 5 years, they found somebody else. And now we've created this plan that, anything I'm making, it's going to be moldable and changeable, but like, you just don't want to be like tied into something that can't be easily undone or that costs you to undo.
Yeah.
And
with anything in life.
Yeah.
I guess always try to have an out.
Yes.
Maybe. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? But
be able to change, right?
Not as a fear, but as a precaution and part of the plan.
Yeah. I almost like kind of as we're talking, I just think about like having teenagers, right? And they just like think like this relationship is the end all be all. I'm going to be here forever. I would almost say that's like the interim time that you're kind of in right now, right? Like it's like,
yeah,
it might be, but 10 to 1, you're going to find
some type of change will happen.
Yeah.
Whether it's a relationship or.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you're going to do a podcast that's incredible that was never even on your list.
Yes. That's what I do. So, yeah.
I mean, like when we first met, I could have never envisioned you doing something like this. But the second I saw you doing it, I was like, that is totally what she should be doing. It just fits.
Oh, I pushed it away.
Did you?
I tried to push really hard and it just kept coming back to me. I think it was my honey pushing me.
Oh, I'm sure.
He was like, you can do this.
I think so too.
You're a GD badass. That's what he used to tell me all the time. So with everything that I did. So
I love it.
Yes, I do miss that. But just tying this portion up. So that first visit with a financial advisor, if it's a referral, yes, it may be a safer choice.
Could be,
to go with that person. And like you said, and I know this from meeting with you in your office, not as friends, but me coming in and talking to you about my financial picture. You did that exact thing. You asked me questions.
Mm-hmm.
I showed you what I had. You looked at it. And then you said, this is the short-term plan, and this is what a long-term plan could look like.
Oh, cool. I couldn't remember our meeting, so I was like, hopefully I did what but yeah.
Yeah, and I walked out of there feeling comfortable. Because friend or not, if I
Yeah.
didn't feel comfortable, I probably
Wouldn't have
would
stayed.
try to avoid you after that and
Sure,
go with
sure.
someone else, right?
Yeah.
But I walked out of there going, okay, Megan knows what I need. She's not pressuring me in any way. I didn't walk out of there feeling
good.
Like I had to make a decision or so overwhelmed that I just won't make a decision.
Yeah.
So there's still a lot of work I need to do with my financial picture, but like you said, it's just a plan and work that plan.
I've had a thought too while we've been talking.
Mm-hmm.
So I think like there's varying levels of like involvement in financial stuff, but I mean, like, you're a real estate agent, like you've been involved in financial transactions, you've worked with mortgage brokers, you probably know like ones that you like, that you don't.
Mm-hmm.
Probably was a little bit more intuitive for you to figure out what you were looking for. So, I mean, maybe it's someone who's got more of like a financial background or is used to being a decision maker. They're going to probably be a little more decisive about who they want to hire.
Mm-hmm.
My husband, I mean, I don't know what he would do, like, if I disappeared, like, legitimately. In fact, like, my cousin Q, who rents our basement apartment, I'm like, listen, like, if something happens to me, here's what you got to do. Because that, I mean, Adam would be...
Does Adam know this?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I did. I was just like, I realized, like, I mean, he was in the military, so like our dynamic for the first 4 or 5 years of our marriage was like I ran everything, and most military spouses do. So the female military spouse has zero problem handling all the household stuff because they've had to, right? That doesn't mean there isn't other things that that they'll be shell shocked with or have a hard time with, but like that's one type of widow. The other type of widow is like someone whose husband handled all of that stuff. My husband in that position, and like it's gonna probably take a couple visits with a couple different advisors before they really feel like they found the right one for them.
Yes. That was just the couple's dynamic. It doesn't mean it was good or bad. It's just 100%. How it worked for them, how they preferred it, how they liked it.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, that first visit, whether you're very knowledgeable and you've been running the show this whole time, or you're walking in not quite knowing.
Yeah.
Example for me is a 401k.
Yeah.
I have one, but I have no idea how it really works.
Yeah.
So I might be that person walking into your office, but either way, no matter who you are, start with the steps, create a plan.
Yep.
Don't do anything major that first year.
Yeah. 100%.
Okay.
I had one more thought too on like not doing something for a year. And I know we're going to talk about trust later. But another thing that always happens is people who loved your significant other calling and asking for stuff. They want a memento, they want this or they want that. So I think that every widow should be like, hey, I should have this kind of phrase or something along it in their arsenal.
Yes.
I am so honored and flattered that you love this person as much as I did. But I am in a tailspin right now, and I would love to revisit this conversation in a year.
Yes.
And I'm maybe if you really feel like, you want to make sure that they feel heard, I'm going to write, I'm keeping a journal right now of all of this stuff, and multiple people have come and talked to me. I'm going to put that down.
Yeah. And
then don't put it on yourself to follow up with them. Be like, can you come back to me in a year? And let's talk about it then. And it's just hard. And I feel like that is really taxing on the widows I've worked with and widowers, it's just like...
Because all that's happening all at the same time.
Yeah.
When somebody passes, that's happening.
Yeah.
And then having to deal with the finances.
Yeah.
And for me personally, I didn't know how to react to that at first.
Yeah.
because I had never been a widow before. So I didn't
Sure.
know how I was supposed to be reacting, right?
Yeah.
I just knew that it felt off
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
I felt pressured.
Yep. Yep.
And so I made the decision pretty early on that I didn't put a wall up, but I just, or maybe I did, I don't know.
Sure.
But I just knew that I couldn't make decisions, small or big,
Yep.
for somebody else.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like I really had to be a little bit selfish
Yeah.
and really look out for me, because
Mm-hmm.
the person that had looked out for me, that had my back,
Yep. Yep.
that I knew 100%, he wasn't here.
Yeah.
And so that's a fear that's super scary. And I had to really make that firm decision early on.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I know you loved him as much as I did,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not making decisions like that right now.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you when I will,
That's totally fair
because
too.
some people wanted a timeline too.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
And just the other thing that I thought was, he's gone, but I'm still here.
Yeah.
So why all of a sudden does everything need to be given away?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm still here. I still have our home.
Yeah. I still
want
gotta
to
live.
Yeah, I still have to live, all those things.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that just goes back to letting widows know, if you feel pressure
Yeah.
from anyone, anytime, in any situation,
Mm-hmm.
it's probably not a good thing.
Yeah.
And step back and really evaluate that the best that you can
Yeah.
in the, the mental state that we're in, or ask for
100%.
help. Ask for help.
Ask for help. And in my practice, I really try to make sure people who have kids have a trust, and also people who are retiring have a trust. But I have a network of attorneys that I work with who I love. And what I love most about them is they have no problem having those conversations for you.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's why they're attorneys.
they are, and they're just so great when they handle stuff,
Right. Give me a chance for that.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
Yeah. But just like, you and your significant other already met with this person. You've already made decisions. One thing that I would throw into trust planning is being a little bit more detailed. So things I see in Utah all the time are like an heirloom firearm, like great grandpa's rifle that's been handed down.
Yeah.
Dude, there are family fights over that are unbelievable.
Yes.
And so, together you made a decision. It's in writing. This is where Mel wanted that to go.
Mm-hmm.
And it's no longer on your shoulders to communicate it.
Yes. So this is for all the listeners that you're both still here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Listen closely. Put
that down.
Yes.
Like if
do this call to action.
Mm-hmm. If you have something that is generationally inherited, there are people that want that, and you may have someone that you want to make sure gets it.
Mm-hmm.
That needs to be somewhere in your trust document, and a good trust attorney, just like I'm going to do my job, listening and hearing and helping you put your investments together, a good trust attorney is going to do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to really push you. What clients often do, though, is they just want to get something done. I would encourage you to take time to think through it.
Mm-hmm.
And think through all of those little items. Like my dad's mom in particular really loved jewelry. And I mean, she collected it all over the place, and handmade stuff and stuff that was, representative of places she traveled and things like that. And she had it written down who she wanted to get what and when and how. And I was like the lucky recipient in that I was the only girl. And so to her, it mattered that it went to me and my girls. And she had it in her trust that was what was to happen. So,
you're making it easier on your family once you're gone.
Mm-hmm.
If you have all of this in place.
Yes.
Then there aren't any fights. The oldest child doesn't say, well, I deserve all of it because I'm the oldest.
Yep.
Or the youngest child, well, I'm the baby.
Totally.
They said that I could have this and this.
Yep.
That's what happens. So I hear people every day say, I need to put a trust together.
Yeah.
I need to do that.
Yeah.
I think the majority of us say that and don't do it because we know death is coming.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things that, well, it's not tomorrow.
It's not today. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll get to that trust thing sometime soon.
Yeah.
Or maybe when I'm old.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to need that now. I'm only 35.
Yeah. And
yeah.
That is sometimes the most devastating loss is younger in life.
Mm-hmm.
So there are some things that I think are really important for people to know about. We typically call it a trust. Most really good attorneys are actually going to make an estate plan.
Okay.
And there's a little bit of difference there.
Mm-hmm.
But I think talking pre-losing somebody and post, there's a couple things that are really, really important. So
I love this. Okay. Perfect.
If your significant other is still alive, some of the stuff we've already talked about, you're going to get things down on paper. You're going to make it easier for whichever one of you is left alive at the end to have hard conversations and do things. But in an estate plan, you're going to get the trust, which, again, not legal advice, just my generic perspective as an advisor. It's basically like, this is what we want to have happen after we've passed away. Pre your passing away, though, in an estate plan, a good estate attorney is going to put together a series of power of attorneys. So typically, you give your spouse the power of attorney, they give you a power of attorney, and then you guys designate a third person in case you're both incapacitated.
Mm-hmm.
So in your exact situation where Mel got hurt and then he was in the hospital, had he not passed away but was disabled, that power of attorney is what would have allowed you to go act on his behalf, on his investments, on his bank accounts, on his car. Without that, there are a couple legal mechanisms you can use, which an attorney would be better poised to tell you what to do, but it's a longer path than being able to just have that on hand to go do what you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
Then, particularly in a relationship like you were in with Mel, where you guys had kids with other people prior, you were older.
Yes.
A good estate plan is going to have a healthcare directive. And that's where you blatantly say, if I am ever on life support for X amount of days, I want the cord plugged or I want it unplugged.
Mm-hmm.
What is really hard is typically the spouse is going to make the decision. But if you've got his adult kids sitting there not ready to let him go, you're in an impossible situation.
Mm-hmm.
And a flip situation where, you know, you're just older and you've got adult kids and now that older kid is taking the responsibility of making those decisions, that just creates so much hard feelings. There's still going to be hard feelings, even with it being in writing.
Yes.
But it gives that person who's in that impossible situation some direction on what your wishes were.
Mm-hmm.
And it helps you move through that. Now, as a widow, there's some things that an estate plan or a trust needs to, in my opinion, needs to be in place.
Mm-hmm.
So
this is if you have a trust and you're a widow, or if you didn't have it, if your spouse didn't have a trust.
You're just a widow and maybe you guys had one or you didn't, but things that you want to make sure are in place for you.
Gotcha.
Now that you're on your own.
Mm-hmm.
So a good estate plan is going to have what's called a HIPAA release form. If you got in a car accident today heading home and your kids saw it on the news and they know what hospital you're at, without that HIPAA release form, they're most likely not going to be able to call on the phone and find out what's happening to you.
Wow.
So a HIPAA release form is just you saying, usually it's only one person,
Mm-hmm.
one of your kids can call a hospital and find out what's happening with you. So had in a situation with the coolest client I've ever had,
Mm-hmm.
just 80 in her 80s, has a hiking club in her 80s.
Oh, wow. I love that.
They go to the Wind Rivers in Wyoming. For those of you who are from like this area of the world, that's middle of nowhere. They do a series of hikes. And I think she had like a group of like 6 to 10 people that were with her. backpacking. I mean, we were talking like now at 43, I
The
couldn't keep up.
ultimate hike.
Yeah. Her friends go home and she decides she's going to do one more on her own.
Oh, no.
She has a stroke on this hike.
Oh.
Fortunately, and this is just like incredible, other hikers saw her and got her life flighted. Somehow her kids found out, or like, but it was like weeks later. Like, her friends didn't hear from her. Like, then they kind of find out. It was hard to even get a hospital to admit she was admitted there without a HIPAA release form.
Mm-hmm.
She did work with us. We knew she had a trust. We knew she had a HIPAA release form. Like, her kids were, able to do that. Now,
How do you communicate that to the hospital? Let's say you're just on a phone call.
fax it. They're going to have a system. They're going to tell you, we
okay.
need you to fax that to us. We're going to need you to email it to us. Here's a
Okay.
secure portal. Upload it.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they're going to work through that.
Okay.
And usually, I mean, everybody thinks they're going to live around their kids. It's just not the same anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You can't depend on that. So you want to have that on file. Then your power of attorney that maybe was correct when your spouse was alive no longer works. So you're going to need to get that redone so that you have the proper person in place to be your power of attorney. And you may need to do some adjusting to your trust depending on how things happened or, whatever. So you want to have a review at least of your trust document.
Yeah, because there may have been changes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Your hope when you do a trust is that you're going to make it what we call evergreen. Like it's going to go in line with whatever life throws at you. So if you have 3 kids and one of them passes away, the trust dictates whether their kids get their share or it gets split between
It just keeps flowing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But you should definitely have it reviewed after a passing of a spouse and just see what needs to be adjusted. That would be my best practice. You're also going to, in the trust, like dictate who you want to resolve your estate. So part of what we've been talking about as a widow is you are basically in that seat when that person dies, is to resolve their estate. So all of those things that you were like, it just feels like one more thing that I'm saying goodbye to. Those are typically those moves, like closing their bank accounts, like filing their last tax return. So your trust document will typically say who you've set up as that. It is really fantastic if before you become a widow, the 2 of you have made some decisions around that.
Mm-hmm.
As much as I think it's so important to get a trust done sooner than later, I also think there's some benefit to waiting till you've been through that year. So where widows can be really vulnerable is right now you're young and you're ambitious and you've got all this stuff going on. If you never remarry, or even if you do, at some point in time, we all become old and become vulnerable. And when you have a really good trust in place, it protects you from people coming in and taking advantage of you.
Mm-hmm.
So in our industry, most compliance people want us to get a person on file that's called a trusted contact. So when we start to see that you're diminishing in capacity, that is who you want us to reach out to. Right now, my older clients that are in that space, they did a lot of banking when you went in person to the bank.
Mm-hmm.
You filled out a deposit slip. You signed stuff, I feel like I start to know when someone's starting to diminish capacity when they start just showing up to my office and thinking of it like a bank. And I'm like, okay, they're starting to conflate their investments with their banking assets, and that's a sign.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, nefarious people are very keen on identifying people who are in that state as well.
Mm-hmm.
So this is when someone is like still driving themselves around. They're still showing up to family events on time for the most part, but they are really not running with that same capacity that they had 20 years ago. And next thing you know, that individual that's got nefarious intentions is asking for money. They're constantly in a financial crisis and they need money. If they can garner that individual's trust, they will eventually try to get them to rewrite the trust or redesignate people, i.e.
Yeah,
themselves.
you hear about that a lot.
Yeah. So if you can put a trust together that you feel really good about, that's an opportunity. And you know, you'll be in diminished capacity, but you've designated that trusted contact with your financial advisor. Between that, your trust attorney, and that trust document, hopefully some things can be put in place that will make sure that the decisions that you made when you were in your right mind actually happen. And I would liken that diminished capacity to being almost the same functionality you have available to you when you're in grief. And those same pariah will walk themselves into your life when you're a widow too. And so, again, that kind of prickly, capable person can be a lifeline, you know. And I'll speak on that on one thing too.
Sure.
So I have a client. He's actually really pretty hilarious, but he's kind of just a no BS individual. And his older neighbor walked over to his house one day and was like, "Here's all my passwords and my usernames, and if anything happens to me."
Oh, goodness.
That prickly personality was like, "Not on my life. Like, I don't want that responsibility."
Yes.
When someone responds to you that way, that's a sign you might have the right person.
That's who you can trust.
That's who you can trust.
Okay.
Someone who is like, "Whoa, no, you need to take care of that's for you.
Yes.
I'll help you find the right person. I'll help you put some things in place, but you know, need to." They've got good boundaries, I guess, would be like the right word. But anyway, the trust can help you later. It can help you now. And if you don't have one, I would get one. If you're in that year-long space, maybe hold off a minute. Find that prickly person in your sphere of influence who they might even make you feel bad for calling them, but that means you're on the right track.
Okay.
Like
and those are things that we might not recognize.
Yeah. Like if they kind of make you feel like you're annoying them, great.
Keep bugging them.
Keep bugging them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like they are not wooed by charisma, and they're gonna help you make sure, and they're gonna be.
They want the best for you. They're not going to take you down a bad road.
Hopefully.
Or they're not looking. They don't have dollar signs in their eyes.
Yes. Yep.
So.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good tip.
Like if there's, you know, I mean, like here in Utah, people go to church a lot. If there's kind of this guy who always shows up and helps, like, you know, plow the church parking lot, but everybody's just kind of like, he's just kind of a jerk. That might be a good lead on somebody to talk to.
Yes.
Or, you know, sometimes it's a woman too, right? Like she's professional and she's just kind of not into the social scene or whatever. And
maybe she has all her ducks in a row.
Yeah.
You've spoke to her about it before, just casually, and you know that she's pretty knowledgeable.
Yeah.
And knows how things work. At least reach out to her and see.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And then she could maybe give a referral.
That's it.
Like you. That's how it works. So.
I was just thinking, like, right as you were talking, it's like typically those people are already going to have a good set of professionals they've hired. And, you know, they'll tap you into their network. And especially if you're in a situation where you don't have money, but you just need some guidance, like, you know, those professionals might be willing to help you just because they're that referral person is a client of theirs.
Right.
And that could be really helpful too.
So we just want to reiterate certain things in life. You should reach out to a professional.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. And then obviously interview that professional and know that you're in the right place too.
Yep.
So
that they fit your personality too.
Yes.
and you feel comfortable letting your hair down and saying what you're going through.
Exactly.
And that I am trying as a professional to fish out of you where that shame is coming from. Because that's going to tell me what I need to fix. And you're hoping that's what you're looking for, is someone who's gonna ask you pointedly, like, I feel like you've got some concern around this. And then it's like, okay, yeah, you're dealing with someone who's good at what they do.
Yeah. Like I was telling you earlier, I'm a real estate agent, but sometimes, usually my number one job is therapist, counselor,
Yeah.
referee,
Yeah.
all those things
Yeah.
in particular transactions. Same with a financial advisor. You not only know your stuff about finances, you're educated and know all the right things, but you also have to have that other side of you that has compassion, that
Yeah.
that is willing to take, that extra step for that person. And I guess what I'm trying to say is just look at their bigger picture and
Yeah.
know what's best for them. So
Totally.
which I know you have that for
Thank
sure.
you. Thank you.
Yeah, and not just because you're my friend and I know you. Like, I knew that from the beginning.
Oh, thank you.
So let me just quickly touch on. So we kind of talked about, watching out for people that might scam. One thing that I noticed right in the beginning after Mel passed was I would get a ton of weird mail.
Yeah. Yeah.
Telling me he had benefits, he had this, he had that. A widow might receive an email or a phone call or a text. So just always be careful about that. Obviously, anybody claiming to be calling from Social Security.
Yep.
Probably is not somebody really calling from there.
Two things, because sorry, I was
That's
thinking
okay.
on stuff. So, if you have an estate attorney, I mean, like, unfortunately, we have some things that are in place to protect creditors. So, like, you're supposed to post like a general ad in the paper that someone has passed away, and that's a call for creditors to let you know that they've got a bill with them, right? Also, we have a cultural tradition of having a obituary. Predatory people read those. Where we get up every day and we go to work and we clean our house on Saturdays, it's on their to-do list to check that.
Work. Yeah.
And that's what they're looking for. I had in my notes here, you need to notify Social Security when your loved one passes away.
Okay, yes. That is
so a couple things.
Number one tip.
It is a place that people go. It's in the news a lot right now, unfortunately, in ways that I don't particularly acknowledge or agree with. American citizens use dead Social Security numbers to perpetrate fraud. If you don't notify Social Security that they've died, eventually they have systems and ways of figuring it out.
Yeah.
But that will help you too to not get those phone calls, or when you do get them, you know that it's not right.
Okay.
So over 2020, Social Security updated a lot of their processes to be online. They're super frustrating, especially when you can't get in them. But they are really lovely in situations like this, because now you're going to have someone that, emails you or communicates with you, and you're going to know that that's the right channel for that information. Secondly, the day of the funeral. It's really a good practice to have somebody be at your house during the funeral.
Oh, wow.
So, unfortunately, people who rob homes watch obituaries. Typically in the obituary, you're going to say when the funeral is, where the graveside service is.
Yeah, it's not at your house.
It's not at your house.
Somewhere else. Wow.
Uh-huh.
But nobody thinks about that.
Nobody thinks about it. It's unfortunate, though. And they know that you're not at your home and that you won't be. So, yeah, if you can have someone who's willing to be there while you're all
who's willing to miss the funeral. Yes.
Yeah.
Those are great nuggets.
It's
things that people don't think about.
Yeah. But it is a horribly traumatizing experience to have your home robbed while you're grieving and saying goodbye.
Yeah. I can't even think of
Yeah.
what that would feel like.
Yeah.
Just, yeah.
So call Social Security, call that loved one's HR department. They will help you.
Yes.
Like, they know the benefits they had, you know, I mean, they're probably going to want to see a death certificate. They probably already know because you've had to know whatever, but you know, they're really willing and able
They
to
are
help.
willing. Mel's HR department did work with me
Yeah.
well. No matter what the situation was, they were
Yeah.
still willing to help.
Yeah.
So that's why they're there.
It is, and I think they are probably better trained than I am on how to help you.
Well, they're the professional in that field.
They are,
just
for
like
sure.
you are in
Yeah.
yours. So again,
Yeah, I had
reach
that.
out to the professional that does it every day.
Yes. Yeah. It really is what they, to your point, they do it every day. And what feels mystifying and overwhelming for you in that moment is just, I think about, I get a Diet Coke from McDonald's every day, whether I need it or not.
Right.
And, you know, it is like cha-ching for the person that, you know, takes my order, and my friend that I've become friends with at the
That's
window.
funny.
Yeah.
I think we all have our little vice, whether it's a Diet Coke at McDonald's or,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, Dutch Bros,
For
whatever
sure.
it is.
For sure. It's as like habitual for that HR person as it is for my friend that gets me my Diet Coke every day, you
Yes.
know, and
Yes.
that also is someone who maybe they aren't quite the prickly personality I'm talking about in your sphere of influence, but that's someone who's gonna, like, most likely be your advocate, and that you could probably have some level of confidence is not going to take advantage of you. And they just are there to help you. And even if they are kind of a nefarious personality, there's going to be some oversight on them that's going to protect you there too.
Yes.
So
Okay.
have a level of confidence in talking to them.
Nice. I just wanted to touch this really quickly.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of widows have powerful beliefs about money.
Yeah.
Like we talked about at the very beginning,
Yes.
how we were raised, what our belief system is. And a lot of it, I think, comes from the fear of the future, which I definitely had that.
Yeah.
I was afraid of what the future looked like, making all the wrong decisions, just doing it alone.
Yep. Yep.
And so a lot of different beliefs I just wanted to touch base on that the listeners might resonate with. You might think that you'll never feel financially safe again, or I should already know this, right?
Totally.
There's shame. If I enjoy money, I'm dishonoring him.
Oh, for sure.
I can't afford to trust anyone. I can't do this alone, or I'll never be able to retire.
100%.
Not being able to see what they actually have in the big picture. I know you've said that a lot. You know, people walk in thinking they have one thing, realize they have a lot more, and they walk out of there going, wow,
Yeah.
my future looks a little bit better. So yeah, I mean, if widows can get past those beliefs, and I know that you help them work through that. And another thing I just wanted to quickly touch base on, and you may agree with this, I'm wondering if listeners have felt this way as well. Financial stress could be grief in disguise.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes. So sometimes it's not all about the dollars. It's about loss of control, loss of identity, of safety, loss of the partnership, anger at being left with responsibility. So we talked about that. So money becomes the visible problem, but grief is the invisible one underneath. So I just kind of wanted to touch base with what I feel like widows might be feeling out there, and how this all ties together. So let's wrap it up with, we've talked about trusts. We had that on the list. Quickly, some systems that women can implement right away is obviously reaching out to a financial advisor if you're able, creating a budget.
Yeah.
Even if it's just a simple budget of what you can see, what your bills are and what your checking account looks like and everything, at least try to take the time to do that. Yeah.
I think that's so touchy. because a budget really comes down to your personality. So,
That's true.
yeah, a really great tool and something that I would recommend doing before the loss and after. So typically you're going to have a banking app, and usually the banking app is going to have some link to a budgeting tool. It is just a really quick and easy way to see where your money's going and keep track of stuff. A lot of times it will do backdating. So if you're newly widowed and you're not sure where money's going, you can link all the bank accounts to that app, and it will just be like, hey, like, here's all the car payments. Here's the house payment. Here's the utility payments. Here's your insurance payments. And it'll...
And the balances. A lot of times we don't even know what the
You don't even know what the
balance is of
balances are.
anything. Yes. We
Yeah.
laugh about it. We're like, oh, I haven't checked my credit card balance, or,
I know.
all of that.
Yeah.
But these are really important things that
Yep.
we need to take the time to do before and after.
Before and after. But it can be some of that forensic tools that you need that it can do it for you, like where we used to have to get a bank statement and go through it and find stuff. Some of those apps will just, the intention of the app isn't to help you be a forensic accountant. It's to help you know where your money's going.
Yeah.
But it will tell you what's coming out where and when, and help you do stuff. And it typically, they have a really great format that is just super simple.
Okay.
Like, here's all your healthcare costs. Here's all, it kind of categorizes stuff in a really great way, usually.
I love that.
So super simple.
Quick call to action.
Yep.
That anyone can do. Let's see. I had, what documents should every widow gather and which ones matter the most?
Yeah.
So I had marriage certificate, 5 to 10 certified death certificates.
Yeah.
I never knew that. I said, I thought to myself, why do I need 10?
Yeah.
But then quickly realized why I did.
Yeah.
Social security cards, insurance policies, will and trust documents, mortgage statements, financial and bank account statements, and know what the beneficiary designations, know who those are. So would you say all of those are definitely part of the packet? There's not one that's more important than the other?
I had on my list those death certificates. I think that, those other things you're going to be able to find at your house. The death certificate, usually the funeral home gets them for you. And funeral homes, I think it just depends. I mean, I've seen some funeral directors who are like, you're going to need 20. And then some of them, they're like, I give you 2 and you've got to go buy the rest or whatever.
Yeah. That's what I had to do.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I actually didn't use a funeral home.
Okay.
I just did a celebration of life. So then, yes, I had to go down to
the Vital Records or whatever.
Somewhere downtown.
Yeah.
And yes, I got 10. So I didn't use all of them, but it still made me feel good about having them if I needed them.
Well, unfortunately, AI is changing so much. So what that means, unfortunately, for a widow is I am seeing a trend where anything that has the right to ask for an original death certificate is. So we went from an era where everything was becoming electronic to now AI is able to hack anything electronic, and now we're swinging the other way right now. So, for example, life insurances, 401ks, checking accounts, a lot of them, a checking account, you might be able to go in person, show them the death certificate, they'll take a scan, they'll accept it, they'll keep it on file. A lot of your investment accounts, life insurance, they're going to require you to mail that in, and you may or may not get it back. So for ease of just being able to move through stuff, I would say 10 is probably a really reasonable number, just so you can get through it and not have to come back and revisit it.
Yeah.
But it's hard. And those other documents, absolutely, you're going to need them. And as the spouse, you're going to have privileges in handling his estate. So that marriage certificate is going to, help you do that. Which
sometimes could be offensive. I can't remember what situation I was in when they first asked for the marriage certificate. but we were married. My emotions came out.
Yeah.
Why do I have to prove it to you? But
Yeah.
obviously, when I got out of my emotions, I realized why. And you're
Well,
right. It's no longer just send us a copy. It's like
mhm.
they want that actual
They want to see
certified copy.
yep. Usually there's a watermark or a stamp on it, an imprinted stamp that they accept as like making sure that it's real. It's also why, no matter what people's like a review on stuff is, it's like when you are in a long-term committed relationship, if you're not married and you're dealing with a loss, it is so much harder if you aren't the legal spouse.
Yeah.
I mean, there are so many doors that close, simply won't talk to you. So, I mean, there's other documents to have in place. Trusts are one mechanism,
Yeah.
contracts are another, whatever. But, I mean, our entire society was built from a perspective that people would be married. And a lot
Which
of
is no longer the case
yeah,
anymore. And that's not good or bad. It's just no
it's just
longer.
what it
It's
is.
the way things are right now. So, and that's when surprises and emotions can definitely come out when
Yeah,
your spouse, who you weren't married to,
Yeah.
passes
yeah.
and you thought
Things were,
they had all these things and
yeah, horror
it's not
stories
what
on
you
that.
thought would happen. So definitely a trust. I feel like we could have a whole episode on just trusts.
If we could have a whole episode on trusts, it would probably be better if I referred an attorney to you so they could really, I mean, I'm just telling you from the financial planning perspective what we need from that.
And you're so right. An attorney is the
Yeah.
professional when it comes to the trust.
Yep.
We're just giving tips
Totally. I mean, like, I would,
that will work for some and not everyone.
yeah, yeah. And I feel like I mean, I'm just realizing right now a faux pas I made even preparing for this. I mean, I have lots of clients who have been in a committed relationship with somebody. They have lived together, they have mortgages together for decades. And typically, if they're a client of mine, I'm making them get some of those legal docs put together so that they aren't bewildered in a situation when they're widowed.
Yeah.
But that is so painful and that is so hard. And I just want to acknowledge that has happened for people. And
all the time, I would think, because we just don't, again, think about
we
the
don't.
ins and outs of everything, the rules, the
Yep.
laws, all of that. And so just another perfect example of how you guide your clients
Yeah.
and how you see them, see things that they just
It's
don't
not
know.
on their radar.
Not on their radar. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, gosh. So let's tie it up with what's the moment you see widows shift from I can't do this to I've got this?
Who I was thinking about that. I think that if I have one superpower as a financial advisor, and I was actually I listen to Oprah's Super Soul Sunday every Sunday. And the one episode I listened to recently was just on like emotional intelligence and being high on the empathetic scale. And I think I am. You defined better than my perception. I guess like I can perceive pretty well that somebody's hurting or that they're scared or that like they're numb. Like I gather that pretty well. I would say like my goal is to always empower them through education. Like that's really the tools that I have, right? And education, and then like really trying to listen and hear what their fears are and what their ideal situation would be. And I think as soon as that individual starts to feel empowered, starting to find their footing again through the grief process, and then there is a moment where we're working on a plan that I can tell the plan logically makes sense, but how it's really going to work and can they really depend on it? And I think one thing too that happens through the loss of a spouse is a deep-seated belief that you can feel like you've got sound footing and it can be ripped away. And so even if they like logically know the plan's going to work, it's just like, well, will it really? And so it's kind of a coming together of empowerment, which I hope myself and my team are helping them to fill and do, leveling up their education, getting rid of that shame, recognizing that, like, I mean, tons of people are coming in and out of our office from different levels of competency and professional lives. And, if they're all here, then you belong there too. And some of our events too, hopefully help with that too. But eventually, a year to 2 years after, finally, I feel like it just finally comes together. Like the grief passes through, the trauma from the event starts to get worked through, the education that we've provided, the empowerment we've provided, and then just them finally believing that life's going to be okay. And then all of a sudden, I almost think of it like those like cars we had when we were kids that you could like pull back and then you let go and they just like take off.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like my widows and my divorcees, it's like that. It's like you lose that spouse and all of a sudden this car just starts retracting back from something that was just flowing, right? And then all of a sudden everything comes together and you just take off.
Yeah.
And you're off living this new life that is different than you ever thought, but it's still exciting and it's still fulfilling, and happiness can still be found there.
Yes. But as your loved one would want.
Yes.
For you to, and we don't want to say move forward, all the things we don't like to hear.
Right.
But at some point you do. Like what I always like to say is, it's not easy, but it becomes less hard is what happens. And
I can see that.
When you're able to get through the tears and be able to look through the tears and see more clearly, then you feel just more relief that, again, that there is a future and that you're going to be able to navigate that a little bit easier. And so I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's so interesting because like, I just see it from the outside looking in, and it has actually been really good for me today to hear, like when you mapped out those feelings, right? It's like, I've watched them. Sometimes clients have said what they're feeling. Sometimes I'm asking them directly, but I think you have really eloquently and poignantly said what it is that people are going through. And I think, honestly, this would be a great podcast for advisors to listen to, just to hear what your lived experience was, and your research that you've done that's encompassing other people too, because good advisors really want to know that so that we can help. And we're kind of flying in the dark a little bit and making the best observation we can of what we're hearing and seeing. But I think it's been really good for me to hear you articulate some things that I've observed that I have maybe know something's off, whatever, but I don't know exactly what they're thinking or doing.
Yes.
That was really, really good.
Nice. Well, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And ditto with all of the information that you shared. I really think that we have to have a future episode.
I know. Well, I just want to hang out. So
that too. But to just touch base on, I think that we hit a lot of points today.
Yeah.
We may be able to rein a few of them in that we could really just talk about a little bit more, possibly add someone in with us that we can collaborate with and talk about.
Yeah.
Because it's just so important for widows. Again, hopefully we have a lot of things in place before our loved one passes away. Sometimes some couples are just, they don't have the means to do all that.
Totally.
Or whoever their employer is, they don't offer certain things. Like everybody's lives are different. So I don't want a widow out there that doesn't have access to all these things feel helpless. I feel like that we've given the listeners things that they can take with them today and do immediately. Or start working on for sure. Or they'll know who to reach out to for sure. I think that we have touched base on everything. I love that. Okay. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
Again, I was so excited that you are the person that is on the very first episode of The Dead Truth.
Wow, I
can't. It couldn't be more perfect.
Thank you. seriously, I'm beyond honored. I don't even know how else to say it than honored. Like, I can't believe you even had me on your list, first of all, and that you want, like, that I got to be first.
Yeah.
Like, it's amazing. Your studio is beautiful. It
Thank you.
encompasses you. I love all the pictures of Mel. And I think he is really proud of you.
Yeah, he has his fingerprints
Yeah.
all over this,
You
which
can
he
feel
would
him.
love.
Yeah.
He's up there just dancing and smiling and
I will use this tissue if you keep going. So
yeah. Well, yes, let's plan on
Yeah.
a time for you to come back if you're
Okay,
willing.
yeah.
I would love that. I just feel like there's so much more info that
Yeah.
could be shared. And again, a lot of things that people can take, whether you're in your
Yeah.
before or after,
Yeah.
take with you today and implement.
Okay, well, I would love to, and I hope once we get this kind of ready to go, I'll put it out on our social media too, and
Of
hopefully get our
course.
people seeing it. And
Yes. And again, we'll have all of Megan's info in the description. So
Okay,
you're
thank
able
you.
to reach out to her. Are you licensed outside?
yeah,
of Utah?
I would have to look right now. I think I'm at least in, I think I'm about 8 states right now.
Okay.
I've been as many as 24. So, bottom line, if someone reached out to me from another state, I would probably just have to get registered there, which doesn't take very much.
Okay.
Yeah, but great question. Yeah,
Yes. No, we need to know how people can get a hold of you, because
thank you.
anyone that works with you or meets you will
Thank you.
be very happy that they did. So
Thank you. I appreciate
yes,
that.
Thank you so much.
You too. Thanks for having me.
Yes.
So cool.
Yes.
This whole thing just like is a manifestation of exactly what I was trying to communicate. Like, when you came in, even I was like, okay, I kind of think I know where she's going to go and what she's going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, you've healed a little bit. You're working through your grief. And now you've got this entire vision, like, to do something totally different.
Mm-hmm.
And yet it feels just so perfect. And so this is, I think,
Yeah.
widows can be like, okay, Jen has been through this. I can testify it was hard and horrible and
Mm-hmm.
bewildering, all of the above. And now here
I
you
think
are.
part of it is I do it to, I wouldn't want to say mask the grief, but it's literally what keeps me going.
Sure.
That's my personality. I have to be like,
Yeah.
go, 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 go.
Yeah.
Not all widows may be like that, but yes, there is hope. I
Yeah.
know that sounds cliche, but
Totally.
we have to keep living,
Yeah. You're still here.
you know, and not feel guilty. And our loved one is literally, I can tell you for a fact, Mel is right by my side. I feel him
Yeah.
nudging me all the time.
Yeah.
And so there is hope and there is a future. But we just want to make sure that that future, it looks bright financially.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
For sure.
Friends, thank you for sitting with Megan and I today. I hope you found this info valuable and comforting in a way that it imparts knowledge or reminds you of what you already possess and how to navigate it. The one person who partnered with us in everything, including financial decisions, is no longer here. Empowering ourselves and moving forward with confidence, using the right tools is powerful and exactly what is needed. In closing, I want to say I can't untangle what you've lived. I can't make it lighter. Nobody can. But I can sit with you in it because I'm here too, deep in it. So let's sit together. Remember, you are not a sad character in your own story. You are the narrator. You get to decide how this next chapter of your life is written. If this episode resonated with you, please share it with someone who may need it. You can watch all episodes on YouTube and listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at the Dead Truth Podcast, where we continue these conversations and remind each other that we are not walking this alone. Your support also helps our message reach those who need it the most. Until next time, take care of your heart, your mind, your body, and just do your best. And remember, in grief and in life, the truth always finds its way to the surface. That's the dead truth.